Hello, 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 and yes, you indeed are first. And welcome to another one line of code. I am One Lion. I can't believe I started the stream on time. TBD, I know you're going to be in your meeting, but the person that TBD rated today is really, really entertaining and cool to watch. First time on their stream, and yeah, I love their content. So we'll do a shout out for him in a little bit, but whew. Out of breath. Out of breath. Okay, I need to do stuff. What am I trying to do? Get everything ready. Because even though things have changed for me as far as how my work situation is, I'm still pretty much doing the same schedule that I did when I was in my previous job. Yes. Okay, that's what I wanted to see. So I'm pretty much working. Oh, speaking of, I need to pause my work timer. I'm pretty much working all the way up to the beginning of the stream. And then like realizing I only have a minute and a half or a minute left before the stream starts, running upstairs, refilling my water bottle, and coming back downstairs and being here for the stream. But yeah, just keeping myself on a fairly consistent schedule is good for me. It really feels like I can be more productive and focused when I do that. How do I move to new window? Yes, that's what I want. Go over here. Almost there. I love how the current thing that's on the main build homepage is about financial data. I mean data. Sorry. Okay, move this here. Get rid of this button. I never actually got rid of that button. And here we are. So, welcome in everyone who happens to be here. I am One Lion. If you have never, hello Zaid. If you have never seen this stream before, I have been working on a redesign for our stream project, and here's our stream project, which is a financial management tracker, and it's intended to be an open source project that anyone can take a look at, contribute to if you feel like. Definitely no requirements to do that, but it's there for you to do if you so desire. But it is an application that's intended to be for me because I'm selfish like that, to be able to track my finances. And because I've been doing it in Microsoft Access for 10 years now. Wow. 10 years. I was like, you know what? I really, really, really want this to be a web application that I can access from anywhere, from any of the computers that I want, without needing to worry about, did I close the database on the other computer? Blah, 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 blah. Or having a copy on every single one of the computers that I use, or whatever I do in order to get around the whole, Microsoft Access being where the UI is. Oh my gosh, I'm eating my own hair. Cannot recommend. Oh, it's still attached. Oh, good. Oh, yum. Yummy. Yummy. Okay, anyway. So, what we've been doing, we finished doing the original implementation of the application where I can track my own finances manually. It's not intended to replace any of the existing tools that pull in your account information from various financial institutions. For me, it is intended to be something that you go into, you have your receipts in front of you or your emails with your receipts, preferably digital stuff, and you type in, this is the date that I purchased this thing, This is the place I purchased it from. Here's a memo for myself on that purchase. And then here are some line items, depending on how granular you want to get with that. I just do subtotal, tax, and fees typically, and maybe tip, donation, rewards, kind of stuff. And then put in the value, put in how much it costs. And then I'm watching pretty much how much I'm spending, how often I'm spending that amount of money, and it just helps me stay on top of it a lot easier. So that's why I prefer manual entry. But we finished that initial implementation, and now, because of what the app looks like, which for the most part is this, without this app header. I actually don't have the header currently, so it looks like this. But it looks like this. This is kind of what the data entry page looks like, kind of what the maintenance page looks like for the list of items for all of the drop-down fields, and kind of what it looks like as you're editing that drop-down list, or list of drop-down values, I guess is what I really meant to say. So that's what the app currently looks like, and I have been wanting to redesign it from the standpoint of doing UI design work. So when we first created the app, we were role-playing as a full stack developer that was hired to do this, you need to get this done quickly kind of job. That's what I'm going to say in order to excuse my poor design first approach, which I did not do a very good job at. But it was pretty much, here's this timeline. It's a very short timeline. We want this full robust system to work. So get it to work. Try to make it look nice if you can, but if you don't, the first thing we care about is, does it work? Will it do the thing that we want it to do? And so I did that. And after I finished that work for the client, which is me, the client was like, well, thank you so much. You did a great job. Oh, Dukasoft did a great job. Thank you so much for the resub. 30. That is a big number. You've been subscribed for 30 months straight. Holy cow, man. That is a long time. Well, I appreciate the support. You've been amazing. You are a wonderful, wonderful person. Best mod ever. So thank you so much for your continued support. Yeah, what was I saying? I was just saying thank you over and over. Dukasoft. So the client was like, okay, we have this working app. We have people that are interested in using it. They started using it, but it needs a facelift. It's not great. It could be improved a lot. So thank you, developer. Thank you for your functionality programming, writing some robust code. But now we need an actual designer, and we can't afford both of you. So we're just gonna hire a UI designer. So we applied and got selected for the position of UI designer. So now we're playing the role of a UI designer who doesn't have very much experience in the way of writing Blazor code or, you know, any particular framework or what's the word I'm looking for? Development system thing. So we don't really know React. We know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And we know how to use design tools like Figma. And so we started redesigning. Of course, this is me learning Figma in real life. So I wasn't very skilled at Figma. I am getting a little bit better, where I'm feeling confident and comfortable moving around it and creating objects and components and stuff. But I'm probably gonna have to say this again. But we are doing the actual design work from the standpoint of a UI designer who was learning Figma, which we got better at it. And yeah, we put together this initial design where I want something different for the alternating sections, but for the most part, it's a pretty good design, in my opinion. We used Dribble and found some sample pages, and of course you can see where my influences are drawn from. But I really do like some of these. That's probably what we need on this. This little texture thing here. Oh, I really like the texture on this. I wonder how that would look. And how to even do that. But I wonder if we textured this and had some kind of shadowing effect. That'd be cool. But anyway, before we get to that though, now that I have been doing a lot more work in Figma, even for, I'm pointing over here as if I'm still working for Sajetti, but even for my previous job, I was in Figma a lot, surprisingly. And then I am now working on the redesigns for, I'm actually implementing a new feature in the Rocky Mountain Arsenal or Rocky Mountain National Wildlife Refuge applications, which is what I have shifted to working on full time now, which we may stream more often in the future. But yeah, I'm working on adding functionality to the, what is this thing called? To the RMA water application, and it is specifically the well maintenance page. And so this is what the designs for it look like so far. It looks pretty close to what I already threw together just before leaving the Rocky Mountain Arsenal the first time. Hype for the streaming the actual work product. Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun. But I really do want to solidify my work with Figma, and we're gonna do that through the Finan. Plus, I want Financial Management Tracker to be the actual application that I use because I'm tired of using Access. I mean, I guess I could use it now. I need to do some database work to pull over my existing data, transforming it to the new data structure, and then I'll probably be logging my records in both Access and the actual application itself. At least for a month or two. Man. It'll be fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's fine. But that's where we're at. So what I've been doing since I wanted to clean up our original designs is I'm moving it over to a new Figma design and doing it in the way that I have learned are some of the best practices. There are a lot of them and a lot that I don't know and a lot that I'm just making up as I go. But yeah. But this is where we're at. So again, here's our original, where it's all on one page because this is the Figma free version. And as you can see, well, I guess it's on 2 pages. You can see that you only get 3 pages per design and something like 3 designs or 4 designs. Something small. But since I am now working through Automated Realms for a while, I went ahead and bought a professional license for Figma. So now I have a for real project that I need to switch back over to. A for real paid project that gives me unlimited pages and unlimited designs kind of thing. So I'm making use of that. So I will be putting these on separate pages. This here is one of the suggestions that was given during some Figma training that I was watching, paying attention to, where you kind of use a blank page to separate for real, to separate sections And so here, one section contains all of the components, but since I'm going to put the components in groups as different pages, then I have put a section up there. Another example of this would be app screens or something. I don't know what to call them though. I'll get used to it though. I'll come up with something to use. Hey, it's Scott Guthrie. What are you talking about? And yes, I'm gonna wait until after build. And of course, it kind of lines up with our Friday Community Day stream, but there's a lot of conversation to be had around this year's build, along with another topic that came up in C# Fritz's channel, or was it TBD's? Surrounding, oh, it was TBD's that I actually said I wanted to talk about it, but surrounding AI and the evolution of AI and how software development is going to change. And we'll talk about that. Hopefully, if any of you are interested in talking about it, we'll have a discussion surrounding that on Friday or Community Day. Okay. App screens. One thing that would be on our app screens would be like the layout, for example. I think I'm going to do that. Or landing page. Landing page would be a good one. I think layout might still be a component, or layouts. But you can see here that I only have two icons that I have pulled over here. And I am sure there are others, such as in this trash can. Are you a component? You're not even a component? Oh, that's funny. So when I change the size of the sidebar in a separate design, it changes the sidebar width everywhere and everything that's open. But yeah, this looks like it's my crappy trash can icon. I'm gonna grab a for real, FURR, for real trash can to use in place of this placeholder placement. So what I have been doing for my icons, and hopefully it's okay because this is a personal project and not something that I plan on marketing or making money off of or anything like that, is I'm going to iconify which one of you is the right browser? This one. So I'm going to iconify .design, searching for the icon that I want, and then like I try to constrain it to one library set because I'll probably end up using that icon library, or sorry, the developer will probably want to use the icon library that I have pulled these from, but they're always welcome to choose their own icon library. I'm just a designer. So one that I like to use is Remix Icon. Oops. Delete. Yeah. Which one do I like? So it kind of looks like initially when we were doing the design, I'm just going to keep this over here for a bit. We went with a filled trash can. It's actually not that terrible of a trash can, but yeah, still doesn't read super well. But yeah, I think we'll go with a filled trash can. Oh, but I like the one with the X on it. So anyway, I find the icon that I like, I copy it, to my clipboard and I find where our designs are. And we're going to make this thing wrap. So we're going to turn this into auto layout, have it wrap, and then we'll give it a fixed width of this much. I'll change it eventually. So once I paste in the icon that I want to use, then it's just a matter of converting it into an icon component that can be a variant of this icon component that we have already made. So this is going to be called icon. The icon name is going to be trash. No, it's going to be delete. I'm actually going to name it the same as whatever they call it. So delete bin 2. So you're going to be called delete bin 2. And it is going to be filled. Then I'm going to turn that into a component and then just drag and drop it in here. And all of those things that I put after the slashes get turned into properties. And since I already knew that the properties on icon were icon name then filled in that order, then they automatically got given the correct property names and assigned and everything. I guess I will go ahead and make the line version of it. I'll grab the line version of it. And I'll do the same thing. Icon, delete bin 2, false, not filled. Turn you into a component. Make sure you right click on the right thing to turn that into a component. I did this last time, made that mistake last time. And there we go. We now have a trash can icon. What other icons are we using? I'm sure there's a pencil somewhere. And I think this is also a pencil that I created myself. But since it's going to be another developer that will be working on this, it is highly possible they do not want to use some random, not well done SVG for their icon. Why can't I select this? Oh, because it's inside of control buttons. So I'll need a pencil, I'll need a north, south, east, west arrow, and I'll need an X. So let's go grab those. I don't particularly like the ones with the line underneath. But again, I do want to stick to the same library, so I'm kind of... I've committed to that choice, so that's what I will do. Scoot over. Go here. There we go. Okay, and what I'm going to do is just paste them into here and maybe name them. I don't know, I'll probably do the whole thing. Because I was like, I don't want to rename them all, but I'll forget the name of the actual remix icon. Oh, you know what? We could probably put from library. Let's just do that. And we know that these two are definitely from remix icon. Hello TBD, how's the design slog going? It's actually kind of fun still. Because right now I'm just grabbing the elements from all of these that aren't already components. So right now I'm working on the icons. And so I'm grabbing all of the icons and masochist. Grabbing all of the icons and naming them and getting them prepared. Edit. pencil 2, I think is what it's called. Edit 2 is what I said. And it is filled, and it comes from material. Nope, not material icon, remix. Turn it into a component. Slap it in here. We'll do the line version of it. Gimme. Pasta. Icon. Edit to false. I keep forgetting the name of this library. Remix icon. Create component. Boosh. Okay, that is going to be how many components we have per row. DB Gamer said, I've come to the realization I like the idea of design. I just want the middle part learning to happen like a movie montage. And then I'm an expert on the other side of it. I feel like that about so many things. Any endeavor that I start, I'm like, I know I'm going to learn this and I know that I'm going to do it well once I learn it. But can we just skip to that part? You know, not have to go through this whole process of the learning. Almost Matrix style. Just plug it in and oh kung fu. What was the other one? No, it's called Move. Yes. So this one is Move Fill. This one is Move Line. Why does Move Line look thicker than Move Fill? It's more thick. Okay, drag Move 2. Drag Move 2. Okay. You're named icon. Drag Move 2. True for fill. Remix icon. Copy all that because lazy. Pasta. Change you to false. Oops. I do need to hydrate. I need you to be capital because I think it's case sensitive, which would be dumb. Turn you into a component. Turn you into a component. Here we go. Alrighty, nice. And one more. Okay, so yeah, idea. Insert music in cool training sequences. Profit. I just want the skills. I don't need to profit on them. I just want the skills to be able to see that. Well, I guess profit would be able to see the fruits of your labor. I want to see the thing. I want to be able to create the thing using those skills. I don't even want to see the thing created necessarily. I just want to be able to apply the skills that I just learned to creating a new thing. What was the last one? X. Not X. X. Come on, guys. I wonder if it would be part of delete, cancel. What would the X be in remix icon? A plus sign rotated 45 degrees. There. Close. Duh. I should have known. I should have known. Okay, so here's close fill. And here is close line. Close line. That's funny. Icon, close, true. Remix icon, material icon, whatever. False. Component. Oh yeah, do you work now? Although it's not as easy to push Control Alt K with one hand. That's like when I do keyboard shortcuts, because I really do believe in using both a keyboard and a mouse, and even touchscreen if it's available. Just depends on where your hands happen to be. But I like it when you can push keyboard shortcuts using one hand, the hand that's always on the keyboard, and then keep your other hand on the mouse. Why do they look backwards though? I think they're the same. I think both closes are the same width. Okay, ¿qué más? So that's these three icons. Where else am I using an icon? The calculator. This is just delete the green check mark. And okay, so it looks like a green check mark, or just a check mark in general, and a calculator. I already have a trash can. But I also need just a regular trash can that I can use for discard as opposed to delete. Do I though? Because like this one is different. Oh, it's so hard to get to the control button. Yeah, this doesn't look like it's mine, but it's entirely possible I put it together. I don't know. Like a recycle or open lidded. Yeah, it's pretty much the one that you start making edits, but you don't want to apply those edits. You just want to cancel. So discard changes kind of thing. Does that seem like a recycle can? Does that, or open lidded? I think that would convey it. Yeah, I think I just have to go with delete again and then pick one that looks fine. I do kind of like these. I don't know. Do you think this would convey discard changes? If it showed up here. Dude. Make it red. Nope, not fill. Trying to learn about the art of icons. Like I was saying this morning, when you choose pictographs over words, you have to hope they convey the meaning you intend, because you can scare a user away otherwise. Very true. Very, very true. I'm not going to make changes to this. I was just seeing what it looked like. Yeah, I'll keep it as a trash can for now, but I will go ahead and grab these because I do like them as maybe conveying the right meaning. But of course, with icons, with great icons comes great responsibility, as TBD Gamer was saying, where you will absolutely want to make sure your iconography is good, but at the same time, back it up with ARIA tags. So ARIA label, for example, would be a good one, or ARIA, yeah, ARIA labeled by even. But also tooltips. So giving the icon a title so that when you hover over it, you can see what the meaning is supposed to be before interacting with it. What are you called? Delete back to? Oops. think, like, I remember doing a thing where I could rename multiple things at the same time. Is there a keyboard shortcut for this? Find and replace. No, only in my selection. I can't remember how I was doing that. Enjoy the lurk. Oh, speaking of TBD Gamer, now that he's lurking, quick shout out for him. Shout out for TBD Gamer. He is an amazing streamer. He's also plural. Wait, which Dukasoft already did? Oh, Dukasoft did it right before me. Fantastic. Nice job. And good aim. Anyway, TBD Gamer is a really amazing streamer. He is awesome at doing app dev as well as his foray into game dev using Godot. He's learning Godot, having some fun with it on Mondays and Tuesdays. He does still plan on working on Water Drink Water, which is his community app, community project, I should say, which is intended to be for everyone to participate in, and he doesn't want to just work on that app by himself. He would love for other people to participate in it, so he's kind of taking a break from it to give people a chance to. And he also wanted to do game dev in general. He wants to be able to build a game like train simulator thing. The one where you make an entire city. So a city builder type game is what I'm trying to say. But right now he's just trying to master the basics by doing a top-down shooter, 1940 style, whatever it's called. And it looks really fun, looks cool. Definitely cheering him on. But on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, he works on another app codenamed Liquid Sky, which is a productivity application that is intended to be like Jira or Azure DevOps, but more developer focused. So it's going to be really cool to see how that turns out. He wants that one to be more of a for real project. Like, I'm saying for real a lot today. For real project where other people will use it, will want to use it. That'll be really cool to see how that turns out as well. Yeah. I already forgot what this was called. Delete back to true remix icon copy impasta. Yeah, definitely check out his streams. Every weekday, 7 a.m. Eastern time, UTC -4. Okay, so I did like those two, but I also wanted to grab the trash cans that did not have the X on them. But which one? Which one indeed? I wish this didn't have the vertical line on it. I'm gonna go with this. Delete bin 4. Icon. Ocon. Oops. Delete bin 4. True. Remix. Icon. Oh yeah, and then I want to figure out where those person icons came from. False. I will talk about more about the process of setting up this Figma design as I go through it, but I did speak at some length about creating components as well as variables. And the thing that I said I would talk about next, I think, well, I have to check my note because I can't fully remember. It had something to do with theming, I'm sure. Yeah, can't remember. I wish there was a way to customize these keyboard shortcuts though. Preferences. Keyboard layout. No, not layout. I want keybinds. Aha. Create component. Why do you look like you're the only one that can't be? Oh, I was gonna say it looked like these other ones could be modified except for this one, but no, it's just that you can't modify the keybinds. Oh, but there is a quick action, which is still too far away because that's like all the way over on this side of the keyboard. But I really like this one. Oops. Push one button. Oh, nice. That's going to be nice when I want to just look at the content. The color is I. I is color picker? That makes sense. Eyedropper. I get it. Terrible. Anyway, we're learning. We're having fun. I'm having fun. I hope you guys are having fun. Okay, so those are our trash cans. I'm going to go ahead and move it up here with these two. This is one thing that I do like about auto layout, but there's a lot that I don't like about auto layout. But that's definitely one of them. Being able to just move stuff around that I can get organized a little bit better. Yeah. Okay, there we go. These kind of look like they go with them too. All right, that's bad. Okay, so I have pretty much all of the icons. Was there one other one? Check mark. Check. I want one with rounded corners. That's why I liked it, the one that I think I threw that one together, but I'm not sure. We're going to use this one anyway, because again, I'm trying to stick to the same library so that the developer doesn't have a hard time finding something to use for the icons. Instead, they could just go directly to the library that I'm choosing. But of course, they can still substitute their own. Icon. Check. Nope, no other thing. It's just check. Icon. Check. True. Let's remix icon. Copy. Impasta. False. Capital F. Turn user. I wonder if I think this is going to combine both of them and turn the combination of them into a component inside of a frame. Yeah. So I do have to do them one at a time. If anyone knows any shortcuts for being able to create a whole bunch of components at the same time with multiple selections, please let me know. Okay, so I need to find out where these account circles are from. They do look like remix icon. Yay! So every single icon I have selected are from the same library. It would be nice to be able to design my own icons and have them be specific to this application, but even though I am a UI designer, I'm only role-playing one on TV. That's it. I actually don't have the skills to create an icon library myself. Okay, so how do you use these? Drag it out. Oops. You drag it out. So I'm holding Alt to make a copy. And so it'll create an instance, which is this open diamond. And then I'll change and pick whichever icon I actually want from here. And I'll add color from my library. So for example, my primary font in light mode. And that's how we'll do everything. Okay, so let's go back and find out what this node is that I said I was going to talk about today. I did make a note, right? Yes. Talk about frames overflow, right? Yes, that's a good topic there. Thank you for reminding me, Automated Roams. Let's go ahead and trash this. Okay, so on Monday, which again, if you're interested in seeing what we actually talked about on Monday, I have posted it to YouTube. So you can see it there, or the VOD is still available on Twitch for 60 days. Something like that. Then feel free to watch that. YouTube does the automatic transcript stuff now, which is really cool. So if you take a look at that video, day 225. Oh, I was trying to show the transcript. You can go into the transcript, and like what I want to do is tell an agent, which I started doing, but tell an agent how to, or not how to, give it the skill to go to a YouTube page and open up the transcript section and grab the transcript, index it, and then create the timestamp, summarize it using timestamps. And so it'll automatically create timestamps for me. But anyway, if you wanted to, you could go through here and search for component, for example. And you'll get taken to all the timestamps that I mentioned components. Which is going to be not often. It was only 66 instances on this page. And one of them is a video from someone else. Yeah, I actually didn't say the word components that often, but I am today. But anyway, I talked about components on Monday, and the thing that I wanted to bring up, so let's go ahead and come to this landing page where we would put the design for the landing page. Typically, we would want something like, we would want a way to represent different form factors for the same page. And an easy way to do that is to create a frame. So all I did was clicked on my frame tool or pushed F and dragged a frame on the screen. And in this drop down in the properties panel, you can see that there are different form factors that you could choose from. So you can start with a desktop for one of them. And I'm just duplicating that using the Alt drag thing, and I was holding shift so that it only constrains to one direction, whichever direction I started going. But anyway, so that creates a second frame, and I want this one to be an Android large. So something like a Samsung S Plus, whatever they're called. Maybe a smaller form factor, but for our purposes, we really only need one representation of a mobile device, because the content is just going to be columnar at that point in time, and it doesn't matter whether it's smaller columnar or larger columnar. It just matters that it's this kind of vertical format. But the other one that does matter are ultra wide screens. Do they even have one for ultra wide screen? 4K? Or not 4K. What would those be? Those are like 184K or something. I don't know. I really don't know what to use for an ultra wide, because it's 16:9 to begin with. But then it's like 2 of those wide. Hello, you definitely don't have to call me sir, but thank you for being respectful-ish. Do you recommend SICP for a beginner with no CS background? I don't know if I recommend it or not because I don't really know what it is. I can tell you as soon as I look it up. SICP. Structure and Interpretation of Computer Programmings. Wait, this is a specific book. Lord. No, that's wrong. Anyway, I want to... Oh, no worries. I definitely want to know what SICP term you are talking about. Is it actually a book, or this book specifically, or is it an industry within computer science, or within? Oh, it is this book. So I haven't read it. I don't learn very particularly well from books, but this is from MIT, which is pretty reputable. So you could, if you felt like it, you definitely don't have to do this. I'm not trying to, fish for more people on Discord, but if you wanted to, we do have a lot of people that do prefer written material for their learning style. You can ask on Discord in the general channel, or one of the channels that makes sense to you to ask in, and they would probably have a better opinion if they've encountered this book, or if they just look at it and are like, no, that's garbage, or yeah, sure, that has some pretty cool principles and stuff in it. But is there a particular goal you have? And hello, Rusak, asking, how long have you been in .NET? So I've been doing .NET since... It's such a hard thing to say. I've been doing actual .NET since 2013, but I've been doing VBA and all of that stuff since 2000. So once it's 2002, and then VB6 since 1998. And I say since, but I mean, it was like a short time span for VB6, where it was like 1998 through 2004, maybe. And then VBA from 2000 to on and off 2011. And then I still touch it every now and then, but not very often. VB6 is the bomb. But doing MVC applications, I started doing that in 2013. Just before that, I was working in ASP Classic, doing VB in ASP Classic, so it wasn't VB.NET at the time. Just regular web pages. My primary aim was to learn computer science concepts rather than programming, since I'm not holding a CS degree and I'm going down the self-taught path. But still, beyond that, so you say I'm picking up my doily. I don't know what to call this thing. You say that you want to learn the computer science concepts, but how would you imagine yourself applying them? Or is it to learn them just so that you have them? Because if you're going down the self-taught path, and TBD Gamer just went AFK, but he could definitely give you a lot more information on this, since he didn't really go the formal education route either, and he is doing very well. I went to university myself. I didn't do very well in the beginning, but I did graduate eventually with a computer science degree. But I don't think university is necessarily required in order for you to gain the skills to do whichever discipline of computer science you might be pursuing. So what I would recommend is, I don't know what resources are available for self-taught computer science stuff other than the books you would read at university and kind of, actually teaching yourself from those books. Oh, teachyourselfcs.com. You can definitely post links, just so you know. You have blanket permission. Oh wow, what a great looking site. Actually, it is pretty clean and sleek. I do like clean and sleek. But yeah, to say that you want to start off by tackling an entire realm, I don't know what else to call it, on your own is a pretty challenging task. But if you want to start off maybe a little bit more focused on an area, let's say it's security, let's say it's actual software development, let's say it's server maintenance and other backend type stuff, databases, that's where I would recommend beginning. But as far as basic computer science principles, I wouldn't even know how to get started with that. As I'm thinking through my academic career, it started off with, here's a programming language to learn object-oriented programming. That concept. It wasn't just, let's teach you what object-oriented programming is at an intellectual level. It's, here is a hands-on way of learning object-oriented programming by writing applications in C, C++, or Java. And then learning UI design, learning Fitch and Boole for if you were starting to get more deeper into the logic type stuff, the way that chips work even. Data sciences is another discipline that you could pursue. But I guess another resource, if you are okay with being like maybe semi-guided, you could try Coursera and see if they have any computer science courses that you are interested in. There are instructors from MIT and Stanford and other places of note that I can't think of off the top of my head that will teach you computer science. Princeton, for example. And so some of the courses are more traditional class courses where you attend lectures and then you do homework assignments and projects with other people. Some of them are completely self-guided. I have no idea if they do them on YouTube. I've only ever used Coursera courses on Coursera. Oh, the actual universities. Probably. I would assume they do. OS? OS? What does OS mean? Shut up and keep pushing. I mean pulling. I am using Windows. Is that what you're asking? I don't have too many commands that are very informative. I can tell you, like, I have a keyboard command. That's helpful. But no, I don't have anything. Only Santa. I don't have any like specs or anything like that. Yeah, actually, you were asking about my OS. So I'm using Windows 11 Pro. There are some HyperX things that I was doing. Hyper-V things that I was doing before that I wanted to make sure that I had Pro for, and a few other things that you can only do on Pro. So I'm using Pro. I don't remember what all the reasons are anymore. Join a domain. Yeah, joining a domain. That's a good one. I actually do have an internal domain for all of our computers. I didn't know that that was Pro only, but there you go. That's a good one. Yep, Hyper-V definitely. And it really was because, well, no, there's a few reasons that I was using Hyper-V, but one of the main ones ended up being when I was very interested, and I still am, but very interested in learning how to do HoloLens development. They have a emulator that runs on Hyper-V, or that ran on Hyper-V, and I think they changed it to where the emulator is fully standalone. But yeah, definitely let us know. Amex, is it Ammo Valor or Amex Valor? If you do want more specifics on that, I don't know how much advice I can give you on learning resources, since again, I did start off with formal education. That's how I got my computer science degree. The rest, and that didn't give me very much knowledge on how to do .NET development. In fact, I didn't do a single .NET class at university. .NET wasn't actually a thing. Like there were VB, like I said, VB6 and stuff like that, and ASP classic web pages and WinForms and all of those, but I didn't take any courses at my university that were specific to that. It was all Java, C, C++, and I don't use that in my daily developer career. But I do use .NET a lot. So the rest of my experience came from trying to make applications for myself that I wanted to use in whatever technology, whatever language, which just happened to eventually be .NET. And so now I'm in love with doing .NET, so much so that I'm not really reaching out into other programming languages as much or at all. How wide are ultra wide screens? .NET. So TBD Gamer, if you hadn't heard, we had a question about going down the path of self-taught, not going through university. So if you do have any I will answer you in a second, Laxamillion. After I tell TBD Gamer. If you have any feedback or comments that you want to say about that, then please do. I'll read them out. Otherwise, definitely, if you don't have the bandwidth to or the ability to type a wall of text at the moment, that's completely okay. So Laxamillion asked, bro, do you know JavaScript, React, and API things? I am tangentially aware of how React and other JavaScript frameworks work. I've touched them, I've encountered them on other people's streams, and I'm not fully lost while they're working in it, but I don't prefer to use JavaScript or TypeScript. I prefer to use .NET because I have gotten very proficient in it and have very much enjoyed the ecosystem. Yes, tangentially. Through other people, and I've touched up against it. How's that? But yeah, I mean, definitely nothing wrong with people that do JavaScript framework coding. What do I like about .NET? Again, like I said, the ecosystem. I grew up in it. Again, with my very first programming language being a scripting language, being BASIC and then QBasic, which again, very, very faint brushstroke knowledge of it. And is there a reason you're typing in all caps? That's typically considered rude on the interwebs, in case you didn't know. But okay, thank you. I just need help for my project. I have like an API, and API is freaking ghosting me. I was saying something, but then there was just this loud voice in my head for some reason. Yeah, so I grew up on things that are .NET like, I guess. I did encounter Java and C and C++, and probably the reason that I don't like them as much is because I did them at university. And so I have a negative connotation with them. I have trauma. I have just bad memories with using them. I did I did try writing mobile games for Android using Java, and it's fun. And I understood it for a little bit. But then when I started with doing MVC for example, .NET MVC, not just MVC, the actual pattern model view controller, but the project type MVC with .NET, I was like, oh my gosh, I just created a new project, started putting content on a page, and I can start navigating around. I guess I'll make this a warning. Please stop typing in all caps, since I wasn't being very direct previously, but now I'll be direct. Please stop typing in all caps. And that's warning 1, and there'll be 3 total. But anyway, do you know where I can get person's help? Please, my brother locked me, and my friends don't know programming. And sorry for caps, I'm just very panicking. Did you say trauma from JavaScript? No, trauma from C, C++, and Java. So JavaScript I used a lot with MVC, particularly using jQuery, and that was fun. But I really preferred to write the core logic of an application, the thing that makes it tick. So I worked mostly, I'm calling it middle tier, most people would still call it backend, but I worked mostly middle tier, and just really enjoy writing C# code when I learned C#. And there's deflux with all caps. Yes. Thanks for that. But hi, deflux. Hope you're well. So anyway, because I was writing a lot of stuff in C#, I was somewhat familiar with HTML and CSS and didn't really want to do very much JavaScript stuff even back in the day. I'm like, you know, there's another way to do this that came out in 2018, and it's called Blazor. And they said I can use C# for my code behind, that I can use it to manipulate things in the browser on the actual page. I want to do that. So then I'm doing that. So much fun. But anyway, I need help with API. Oh my God, I have 4%. Bye. Okay. Enjoy your time, Leximilian. I'm sure that there are a ton of React developers, but I can talk with you about APIs in general, as long as it's not how to implement them using Express or Node or anything like that. 4% happiness found. TBD Gamer said, somewhere up here, I like .NET because I can be productive. There are options for all the challenges I face. True. I could get into Java, learn the ecosystem, and do everything in that and be completely content writing applications using Java. But that would require me learning that. And right now I am very proficient. Talking myself up. I am proficient in .NET, so why would I want to switch to another technology, at least for now? I like it. It's better memory than C++. And they never did UI at university, and C++ for us only ASP Classic. You even were able to do ASP Classic at university though? I didn't know .NET, no Microsoft products at university. Not even SQL Server. I used Oracle for my senior project. Oh my gosh, that was terrible. Oracle with a PHP front end and yeah. Oh my gosh. Not a good time. I thought .NET's strong selling point was C#. I hear it's mature, as mature as they get. I'm ignoring I'm ignorant in the topic, to be honest. That's a good comment though. I mean, it is a very mature language, but so are a whole bunch of the JavaScript frameworks. They have a large community. They've been around for a really long time, and they have lots and lots of documentation. But all of the technologies have their drawbacks. I just find Microsoft .NET stuff to just be the most comprehensive, understandable for me, for my style of thinking. But Deflux is here. Hello, Deflux. People don't like you're in a playground, so to speak. Oh, for .NET? You can definitely expand on that. TVD says to Deflux, nice of you to show up to some streams. Some days are more random than others. That's so mean. And then TBD said to Kiss Killer, C# is the language most associated with .NET, and Microsoft have focused a lot on it of late. Yeah, they're almost to the point of pretty much ignoring the fact that they have F# and VB and C++ for Microsoft, or whatever it's called. But yeah, we have MS SQL was a total Microsoft. Pennsylvania state? I don't know what PSU is. Here's PHP and Twitches. Well, you're in the right platform to Twitch. Ha. Since he's here, if you guys haven't seen a TBD Gamer stream, this is what he looks like.
I learned to code through...
We're hearing his story.
A lot of failure.
So his background is he learned to code through a lot of failure, which is a lot of our backgrounds. You said hello, and I'm saying hi back. I don't know why TBD is picking on you. Okay, anyway, back to the design. So what I've been doing lately, for those of you that were asking questions about coding, which 100% feel free to ask any questions, especially those relevant to the content of our channel. Those that aren't, I'll let you know that they aren't, and most likely not answer them, and then ask you not to ask about them ever again. Ever. But for now, you're asking really good questions. What resolution are ultra wide monitors typically? 2560 by 1080. Hi Scott, I will answer your question in very soon. 25680. Okay, so this is an ultra wide size. Oh, I like that better, because I really have struggled with larger screen sizes. It's funny because the smaller screen sizes haven't been as bad of an issue for me as ultra wides when I've had to do UI work. So the bigger the better. Dang, Deflux. 5120 by 1440. EP winner. Scott said, do you own a server? If so, how much did it cost? I don't have a server. All of my computers, my personal computers, are networked together. They do have the same domain. I kind of treat them as different server compute resources, like the one for the LLM stuff and everything. How was your day? Question man. The one that drives the LLM. No, don't answer for me. No. Jerk. Clear history. Good. Anyway, the one that's running that thing that doesn't do a very good job of being context aware LLM is on a computer over there. This computer happens to have quite a bit of storage, so I do most of my, like, I started getting into music again lately. I think I told you that. And so all of my music files and my stream stuff is on this computer. And then there's one other computer that is actually by itself and just does its own thing. I was using it as a SQL server, the previous version of it, but then that went down, so then I moved the SQL server onto that machine over there. So the answer is my server costs as much as a computer. But I do also have a couple of services that I run on AWS. My my domain is registered through AWS, and I use their workplace mail for emails for my company. Which I need to push my glasses up for that. But I also have an RDS on it that I don't use currently, but I am planning on using. Many much the very talking I am doing. Yes. Let's go with a medium-sized screen also. So what I was talking about earlier is being able to change your form factor based off of, yeah, we'll do 4x3, based off of using this drop-down when you create a frame. And so when we are going to start putting together the actual UI for these pages, I'm going to have the same components in each of these frames, but they are going to be stretched and squashed per the actual frame itself, the container. And then this one is going to be the mobile layout with the content set to mobile when we create that. So that's what I like about that. We're going to call this ultra wide. I'm going to call this 16 by 9 wide. Call this 4:3 medium and mobile. Okie dokie. Back to the components. So we're still setting up components. Oh man, Andreas. I think pre-rolls are off, so I probably want to wait until commercials roll. But I was lurking on Andreas's stream. It was my first time in his stream today, and oh my gosh, I love it. Hello, let me know when you're done with commercials. Does SAS stand for SAS or SAS? Or something else? Here's a shout out for Andreas though. Andreas SAS Dev. Today Andreas was working. Well, you can tell us what you were working on. Wait, what? Or like a family name. Did you already shout him out? Duka Duka. Oh, I missed an N. Got it. Okay. Andreas was working on remaking his bot using Blazor, which is fun, but like pretty much revamping it from scratch. It was a Python bot with its own API client. At least this is what Twitch. Well, I guess API. Twitch API client, custom rolled, and now he's using Twitch lib, making bot, making custom Blazor website to make the tools so that he can automate a lot of the stuff that he does on his own stream. And it was really, really cool to watch. It was a really long time ago with the old one. So definitely check him out. The way he flies around his code is something I love to see. I'm always impressed by people that are so comfortable in their IDE of choice that they can just go wherever they need, change whatever they want to change, and just have their workflow going. So it was a great stream. Thank you for letting me be there. Thank you for rating. For those of you that are new here, the application that I'm working on is a stream application, at least for now. I may go back to streaming my normal work. So I used to be able to stream my work product back in 2019. Deflux, do you remember when I started? Deflux was like one of my, if not my first follower ever. We're gonna say back in a long time ago. But anyway, so when I started streaming, I was able to stream my day job pretty much. And I was doing professional software development work on stream 6 hours a day, and it was fun. But then I left that position, went to a software consulting firm, and the client that I was working for through that firm I couldn't really stream the work because I couldn't even talk about who the client is. So I still wanted to continue streaming, and I wanted it to be Blazor content. So I continued doing Blazor, and we chose a project, went through the whole process of doing the product design, because again, I still wanted it to be as if I was being a professional developer doing a job for a client. If you're interested in seeing it, I gave you the GitHub link. When you go there, it'll tell you all about how we chose this project, what technologies we decided to use. I do have a wireframe hand-drawn, using a digital tablet. Yeah, it was around 2019. Cool. Using a hand-drawn wireframe, using Microsoft Whiteboard, just coming up with some sketches for what the app should look like, maybe designing the database and doing all of that stuff. And then I tried to do design first. And at that time, I was really not wanting to do UI design. But I do have the original Figma designs that we came up with for this project, which are on the same screen. Just got to find Figma. Hello, Figma. And if you do need to go, Andreas, I definitely understand. I mean, post-stream stuff. Feel free to move about the cabin. Do whatever. But here's our original designs. And then I kind of expanded it into the maintenance page for the lookup list. We ended up choosing this one on the left, and we implemented that. We got the entire functionality of the app running and working, and it does what it's supposed to do, but I want it to be better. So now that the original development project is complete, we are letting that software consultant go. So we're the client, and we're also the developer, contractor. So we're letting him go, and we are bringing on board a UI designer, specifically a UI designer. And so that's the role that we're playing now. And here is what we've come up with so far. But as you can see, all of the majority of my designs are on one Figma design page. I do have a components page for a bunch of stuff, but the majority of our design that we put together is right here. And so it's really disorganized. It's kind of all over the place. And since I have now stopped working for Sagetti, the consulting firm, I am now back to being fully software developer, in a position where I am able to stream whatever I want, pretty much. Since I'm working through Automated Realms, my company, I decided to go ahead and buy a license for Figma. So now I can actually use Figma the way it was intended to be used, as far as breaking up my pages for the components, for the different things. And so we've restarted the design for the app in a more clean, organized way. So I'm in the process of moving all of this stuff over here, little by little, in a nice, clean way, as if this was the first time that we're working on the design for the app. Whew. Okay. That said, let me catch up with everyone in chat. So live coding was, Peter was greeting-ish Andreas, and he said, when you launch a SaaS product, just keep Andreas SaaS in the back pocket, ready to go. He's like, I'll remember that. It's free tip. Free tip. Andreas Sass says, Figma gives me nightmares though. I should really start learning it. There's a lot to it. If you are interested in seeing a quick introduction to components, and I say quick, I mean a 2-hour stream, feel free to check out Monday's video, Monday's VOD. And you can either see that on Twitch until it goes away, or YouTube. Sass. Yes. Perfect. Just keep adding. Peter. Nice. So yes, on my YouTube channel, I post every single one of my VODs. Episode number 225 is the one where we started moving stuff over from the other Figma into this more organized, paid for Figma design with as many pages as I want, but using the principles that I learned over the year of using Figma, maybe less than a year. You have to stop there. More is too many. Being sassy like usual. But yeah, so that's my Mondays and Wednesdays. I am planning on eventually adding a Tuesday and Thursday stream. I still don't fully know what I'm going to do with it. There's a chance that I might just do it on another channel if I end up pursuing music, because I really, really want to get back into music, and I've been doing a little bit of it. I want to get more comfortable with using my DAW, but doing music or just working on the bot on Tuesdays and Thursdays, since I never get anything done on Fridays. But Fridays are community days, and community days are streams where I open up a Discord, so many links, to any of you who want to join using your voice, and we just have discussions about whatever topics relevant to this channel you want to discuss. This Friday, I think I already have topics, which are going to be along the lines of this year's Microsoft Build event and the transformation, the evolution of software development again, but this time with more information gleaned from what we got at Build. So that'll be Friday. Did I miss anything else? 100% can recommend watching VOD if you're interested in components. Yeah, and we didn't really cover too much else today. The only other thing that I added to the information that I talked about on Monday was when you create a frame in Figma, which is generally your starting point for components, for mocking up designs, you have the ability to choose the form factor for that frame, so that you have a quick way of, putting together a screen, what it would look like on a particular type of device. And you can change it after you've drawn your frame by going up here. The other piece of information that I wanted to add to this is your frame is kind of like a container. So think of your frame as a div. And any content that you put inside of it, you can tell it how you want it to be oriented in that div. You can tell it to constrain all dimensions. So here, if I resize the container, the box will resize the top, bottom, left, and right. Or not really resize, reposition the top, bottom, left, and right, depending on what it is that I'm moving. You could tell it to stay in the center. So the center point will remain here regardless of how I move the frame. This one's a little harder to visualize unless it's like directly in the middle, but the center point is still staying in place, whatever that means. And then of course, any variation of them, where you can do top and bottom, you can scale them so that it scales based off of the container. But if you keep it on something like top left, one thing that you might do often with controls and inner things is, let's say that we had an image for this instead. So think of this as a picture. This is a picture. Hello? Oh. So I have mouse without borders, and my other device is actually off the right side of this screen. So when I try to put in the font, I'm always moving the mouse to the right, and it goes onto my other device. So I lose my keyboard. Anyway, this is a picture. This picture, you want to, oh, right, group. Dang it. Here's an example of wanting to keep it centered. You typically want the picture to be bigger than the size of the screen because usually you have overflow on your pictures anyway in your apps, regardless of what size the actual screen is. So what might sometimes happen is you won't realize, but you have this button, this checkbox unchecked, which you can now see shows content outside of your container. And it's like, no, I don't want that. I want it to be, well, first of all, oh, because you aren't actually centered this way. Just hug. Oh my gosh. And what you typically want when you do something like this, when you try to go for this effect, is that the content stays within the container. This is especially good for select lists. So if we go to a drop-down component, then we can see that all of these variants still have the options list. Move. It's just that I didn't want to show the options list when it's collapsed, for example, or default. And so I turn overflow, or I turn clip content on, which is overflow Y hidden, pretty much. Overflow hidden. So that was the other point that I wanted to make about frames. I think that's it now. You'll find clever uses for it. The one that I'm really starting to only just explore is the concept of masking. Masking is still, like, I understand masks. I get masks. But I'm still struggling to get masks to work the way that I want in Figma. So if I swap these two, and I said I want this one to be the mask, then wherever I have this rectangle is what's going to appear. So that obviously has some cool effects that you can do with it. It's just, it doesn't work the way that I think it should work, so I never can do it the right way the first time. Anyway, still working on that. So BitGamey is here. Hello, BitGamey. I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. Are you live? What happened to starting 2 hours earlier? Or is it 3 hours earlier? I can't find my Twitch window. There you are. Sometimes I find it very difficult to hit the target. Do you know what it means? Do you know what makes it even more difficult? When there is no target. Wait, what? It was working earlier, wasn't it? That's sad. Archery. Wait, why? Where are you broken? Oh, duh, because this is a different scene. Ha 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 ha. Dark mode enabled. Cancel. Leave flesh. Okay, back to here. The Dark Knight. Hello? I don't know, BitGamey. Yay. I like how it gave me a double whammy. Ah, this is a master at work here. Okay. So this game that you see on stream, again, for those that have never been here. Oh, dang. You got it. On the second try. Was made completely in Blazor. So this is just using a browser overlay using Blazor WebAssembly. And it's the same code that I'm using for my actual bot UI, except that it is its own page, this page here. And I pretty much have all of the configuration for the page in the query string so that you can customize it when you use it as a browser source. Gosh. And so you pretty much set your game settings using the UI. We make gravity super heavy, super light, whatever. Yeah, if I made it a positive number, the error would never come down. And then it gives you the URL to use for your OBS source, which is fun. But I didn't use Three.js. I didn't use any of the typical graphics for web type of frameworks or libraries. I did it all just using Blazor, a minimal amount of JavaScript, and the majority of it is C# and CSS. Yeah, kudos until you reach the max length for query strings. And what I would do then is I would essentially turn it into oh gosh, how did I give that to Irish John Games? I would turn all of the values into a bit string. Was it a bit string? Anyway, I would find a way to shorten it by turning all of the values into a code that you would use for your settings. And it would be settings equals whatever the code is, and then it would parse it and use that. Okay, here we go. Still trying to move content over. We got all of our buttons done on Monday, including the toggle button. So a toggle button is one that you can change the toggle state. If you created, and I don't know how to use this one, so we're going to somewhat learn it now. If you created a Boolean value called toggled, then when you're using it, you could somehow automate toggled, and I have no idea how to do it, so that when you change toggled, like let's say you click on this thing in a prototype, it would set toggled to true. So it has something to do with setting actions and then having this be controlled by toggled. Yeah. Not used within the component. Yeah, I don't know how to use them yet though. But that's something to keep in mind. You can create variables that are booleans, especially, or text, that can change the state of the object that you're wanting to mock up. And a prototype, or a, what's the other name for a thing? I'm pretty sure it's just called prototype, but it's pretty much a click-through experience where when you run it, yeah, okay, so you need to actually create a prototype. When you run the thing, then it's pretty much a series of, if you click on this, then go to this state or update that component's variant to this specific component. For example, this would go from, if you clicked on it here, it would go from the variant that uses theme light, toggle state off, 2, the variant that uses theme dark, toggle state on, because that's how this component is intended to be. So it needs to update the theme and the toggle state, but then it also needs to update the underlying application itself, or not application, the underlying frames to also change everywhere that it says theme dark or theme light to theme dark, so that it would update that way. Dude. Oh, it did say no kudos, but no kudos for it until you exceed the max length. Got it. My bad. The query string is impressive. Well done. Thank you. I totally didn't read your thing. Score of 2, which is very close to your maximum score of 92. Oh man, I love the bot. But anyway, while we're here, let's take a quick look at a clip from Big Gamey stream so you can all get excited for the next time that he will actually stream, which should be I'm gonna turn it down.
Thank you so much, Science_streams for biddies.
Yeah, it gets crazy on his stream.
Something on this stream is very shocking.
He has a lot of interactable things, if you couldn't tell. That's one of the main draws for his stream. It's a very interactive stream. You have a lot of things that you can do on it, and it's so much fun. You can make C3PO say pleasant things to you in his pleasant voice, in their pleasant voice. I don't know. Anyway, Big Gamey, everyone. Streaming on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 11 a.m. Central Time, which is UTC -5 currently. I think I got that right. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, we were just talking about doing stuff and not actually doing it, which is my favorite pastime, by the way. If you've never done that before, can recommend. Talk about all the things you want to do and don't do any of it. What else do we have? So I did have a whole bunch of buttons already put together. Dag nabbit. So as you can see, the thing that I was starting to create here, lots of baby time, I have already done here. Well, poop. Okay, so I'm grabbing this and we are going to keep this one instead because it has everything. It has the selections that I made for the background colors for the, and this should actually be active, not selected. Active, because selected, oh crap. I'm going to have to change that property on all of them. Selected is actually a term now that means pressed, clicked, pushed, whatever. So really these should have a property name of best. I mean of selected. Man, I even chose colors for info. That's nice. And I didn't even name the properties. So this property is going to be selected. And yeah, I totally, you can already tell that there are some techniques that I've learned that I did not use when I first created these components. Like where to position the text, how to make it grow, shrink on its own so that it wraps the content. And yeah, all the good things we would want it to do. This is active. So active is the one where the button has the focus. And so it should have an outline. And that was the one where I really wanted it to have a gap between the outer edge of the button and the outline. Because I'm pretty sure that's how buttons look. No? No? This active just has the outline on it. Oh, there it was. So when I pushed escape, it got this inner bevel looking thing, I guess. Yeah. Interesting. Anyway, that's not what we're doing. We're just doing active. Yeah, lots of baby time. How lagged are you today, Dukesoft? You seem to be like 20 to 30 seconds behind. I don't know that for sure though. Did I update the labels? I mean the properties. Oh, I hate it when this happens. So I just want to select all of these things in here, but because I have a section behind it all, this is all nested inside of a section, I'm actually moving the section itself around. So I can't click drag to select just the buttons without selecting also the section. So you are now active. And we know that this property should be named state. I'm going to guess the next property is size. Nope. Style and size. Okay. Ready. These colors are going to need to be updated to use the library colors, which I think I set up a library. Local library. That's what I'm looking for. And I did. Where are my properties? Oh, they're here. Button primary background. Did you add it for me at least? No, it did not. Button primary background. But it did. It is actually using... Is it? I can't tell. Yes, it is actually using the color from my library. So what did you do for the ones that I haven't created a color in my library? No, it's not using it. That's only a little confusing. Excuse me. So, let's talk about what I just did. Why? Why do we need to talk? Let's just stop talking. So here are a whole bunch of colors that I don't already have in the application. And what I want to do with this is create a color and reference that color for this button background for, for all of these button backgrounds, essentially. And so right now it's referencing a color from my color library from the other project. So from here, from the library in here. And in fact, it's not even a library, it's a style. Now I need to look up when to use a color style versus a color variable. I think that I should be using color styles for the themes. But is there a way to group to a new folder? Interesting. So if I put you in a folder called app general, app general, how far can I nest you? I might like that more. So I will create the variables to be only the colors themselves, but then the actual background, secondary, dark theme, light theme, all that stuff will be a color style. Does that make sense to do? That kind of makes sense. So to do that, instead, I am going to select these. Actually, I'm only going to use the ones that I haven't created a color for. So this is the original design, just to remind ourselves. I am going to take this color and add it to the library. Oh, and the first thing that I did was, because this is referencing a color style, what I am actually going to do instead is unlink it from that style using this little break link icon, which gives me just the color back. And then I'm going to expand it so that I can get the color picker, add it to the library. As right now, I only have one variable collection because I wasn't using variable collections, but we'll call this for now orange 2. I don't know what else to call it. We'll do the same thing for this one. And we're going to call it orange 4 because it looks darker than the one to the right of it. Watch them be the same color. Excuse me. Are you the same color orange as this one? DE5B14. Excuse me. Oh, because I need libraries. DE5B14. Yeah, it's the same one. Whoops. That should probably be called orange 3. Dukesoft posted a dad joke. His bot says, when you have a bladder infection, you're in trouble. So very true. So true. So you both need to be renamed. So I'm going to rename the variable now so that I don't forget. I'm going to do that by Clippy. Rename you to Orange Glow. Hashtag not sponsored. Oh wait, that's even the same orange color? What? Button mask. Oh, so they all use the same orange color. They just have a transparency layer on top of it. Oh, no worries. No worries. I will be happy to answer multiple questions, or the same question multiple times, because I like answering questions. I hope you didn't answer this in the moments I stepped away, but I'll ask again in case. Did you see the extension types in C# 13? I haven't. I I will most likely see it in Mads' talk, which is supposed to be tomorrow morning at 9:30, I think. But I don't know very much about the features for C# 13 yet. Yeah, tomorrow morning at 9:30 Mountain Time, which is 11:30 your time. Yeah, I love Mads. Mads Torgerson, by the way, not Mads Christensen. I love his demos. And Mads Christensen's demos too, but yeah. I shall be watching that closely. I love their demos. From what I read, it was extending with static and instance properties. This sounds somewhat familiar. I kind of remember him talking about it in the C# 11 videos. I don't think I watched very many on C# 12, but one of the things that they were playing with was extending static, writing extensions for static objects. It's not static. It feels like traits from PHP. They have been thinking about extension everything, but I'm not sure we hit everything yet. Yeah, extending properties or something. You can add properties methods and make them implicit or explicit. So it's something more like partial class ish. Yeah, we'll definitely find out. It's more composition over inheritance, yeah. Well, it's definitely something that we'll see soon. Thank you for the link. Anyone that's interested can check out the link as well. But I'm going to wait until Mads tells us about it, because I'm more of a show, don't read kind of person. Terrible at reading. I'm going to do this real quick since I will be ending the stream very, very soon. That was another reason I didn't actually click on it. It's because I'll be ending soon. It is just about time. But I wanted to assign this color to all of them and write myself a note for what we're doing next. Oops, components. Make color bars for each of the colors we don't already have in the other project. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'll probably still end up doing this on Friday's stream while we talk, because this is something that I could probably do idly. But for all of the colors I have defined here that I don't have in the actual one that we're copying over, 2 or 3, I'm going to create as variables so that when I do copy and paste this thing over into the other design, I will also get the variables automatically. And then over here, the other thing that I want, I didn't actually make myself a note component. So just give me a regular sticky note, even though I don't like these. And this is going to be change themed color bars to styles, color styles. Hopefully I'll remember what that means when we get back to it. But essentially I'm going to have color variables, which are just going to be the basic definitions of the colors. And then I'm going to have color styles, which are going to be the usages of those colors. So a color style would be a button background, and then another color style will be button background hover, and then another color style will be primary text, and you know what I'm getting at. But then, of course, those are split up between dark mode and light mode as well. So that is a massive notepad. I mean, note. Jeez, can I change the text size? Okay, but that is where we're going to end today. Ooh. I am not actually lurking on anyone's streams currently. I usually am lurking on at least 4 people, at most 4 people's streams. But because I have build going, then it's not as easy to remember that there are no streams going because there's constant sound coming from build. But our options for people that I actively somewhat actively participate in their streams are Settlix, Mooniz, Sorcery Story, Code Red Games. I don't really talk on JD Does Dev's stream, and I don't really know what technologies he works in. I prefer people that work in C#, so if he does C#, then that's cool. But it looks like he's a Godot developer, which again, not a problem. I watch a lot of game dev streamers, and isn't Sorcery Story also a Godot streamer? I really, really like her stream. The vibes on her stream are really cool. Yes, she is. And of course, I met her through PBD Gamer. So, fantastic streamers all around. So at the moment, I don't know. Do you guys have a preference? I C#. Well, the doc says so. Like, there aren't very many app devs that I follow. So, oh, and Sorcery is actually rating out, so never mind. Yeah, it's hard for me to raid app devs because I don't watch very many of them, surprisingly. I watch Thindle, TBD Gamer, and now Andreas, which is awesome. But I primarily watch game dev streamers. Rust, Godot. I don't know. Code Rush might be a little too big of a stream for me to comfortably raid. I don't know. Everyone knows Code Rush, although he only has 8 viewers currently. We're gonna head over to Code Rush. Again, his stream might be a little too chaotic for me today, but I'll hang out for as long as I can. Oh, Dukasoft says Seto. Seto works for me. We'll do Seto. Raid. Oh, I didn't even go to my closing screen yet. Thank you all for being here. I really, really appreciate your time, your enthusiasm, your energy, your just being who you are. I will be back again on Friday, as I mentioned before. Oh, Seto's stream is intended for mature audiences only, so or not only, but for mature audiences. So if you are not interested in that kind of content, you don't have to come along with the raid. But I will be back again on Friday for Community Day. We'll most likely talk about our impressions of build, things that we liked, things that we disliked, mostly things that I disliked. I'm not mature, I'm Dukasoft. Yeah, so we'll group back up then and have enjoyable conversations about the state of software development on Friday. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'll be around on Discord. watching a couple of Microsoft build sessions, but nothing that I'm really enthusiastic about. So that's it for me for today, though. Enjoy, do your best, hang out wherever you feel like hanging out. I'll post the VOD for this to YouTube at some point in time. All right. Ciao.